Author Stephen King made some remarks recently concerning the attacks going on about the Marvels because he was saying it was just adolescent fanboy hate. I think he even went so far as to call people incels for some reason because, that's just kind of like the attack people use when they don't have any other argument, kind of like calling someone racist or Nazi or whatever. But either way, it's a stupid attack, but he still did it. But despite the fact he really doesn't have a stake in this industry, in fact, that he even said he doesn't like superhero movies himself, but he still wanted to kind of jump in because I guess he needed the attention or something. But now we're getting director David Ayer making similar statements to this. And he has a little bit more credibility on this matter because he did direct The Suicide Squad and that movie wasn't really well received. So I can see why he would be complaining that people are just looking to hate movies, even if I don't necessarily agree with him. But here's what he had to say about the matter. I remember a time before, the Suicide Squad director said in a post shared on X, a time when audiences applauded success, not cheering on failures. I think it's less that people want movies to fail in general and more they just want bad movies to fail. And what I mean by that are movies where the people working on the movie are antagonistic towards the audience or maybe trying to alienate large sections of the audience prior to the release of the movie. Because when people do that and then the movie fails at the box office, what'd you expect? If you're going to alienate the audience and then your audience decides to abandon you, you kind of get what you deserve on that one. And people are just more or less laughing about the whole karma aspect of it. But those are relatively few movies each year, even though it kind of gets a lot of headlines when people are laughing about a movie failing. For the most part, the majority of movies that come out each year, people are either somewhat positive towards or really just don't care about. And it's only the few that people are really hoping that does fail. When film meant wonder and magic, not a means of attack. When movies were enjoyed, not reverse engineered in hopes of finding ammo to attack. And who's attacking who on this matter? Because do audiences just arbitrarily pick a movie and decide, okay, collectively we're going to attack this one? Or do people working on that movie do something to antagonize the audience first? Because within this industry, there's a thing called fan baiting, which is deliberately trying to stir up controversy and being antagonistic towards the audience in order to get easy headlines. We've even seen it go so far as to have other studios using fake social media accounts in order to try to make insidious remarks on social media in order to help advertise their upcoming project. I applaud all my colleagues in the industry. I applaud all the people who work in film. I celebrate those with the courage to share a piece of themselves with the world. I can definitely appreciate the effort that goes into making each individual movie, but the fact of the matter is most crew members don't actually care whether the movie succeeds. Obviously they would prefer to be working on a movie that's really popular, but at the end of the day, it's just a paycheck for them. The people who really care about the success of a movie are people like the writer, the actors, and even the director of the movie. Obviously, they didn't want it to succeed. And David Ayer, while his career started off strong, or at least I liked a lot of his earlier movies, it's been kind of hit or miss in recent years. And we got this article from Screen Rant bringing up his next movie, The Beekeeper, which is set to come out pretty soon. David Ayer's new movie, The Beekeeper, needs to break his 10-year streak of bad reviews if he wants to reestablish his place in Hollywood. Now, I saw the trailer for this movie and it looked fine. I didn't see anything too egregious about it. It just looked like a Jason Statham action movie. If you're into that sort of thing, then you'll probably enjoy this movie. It looked like it can be kind of fun, but it really didn't look like anything special either. But I think he wants this to succeed because, yes, like this article points out, he's been having kind of a hit or miss in recent years. And David Ayer is really adamant that he wants to see the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad come out because this was a movie that he was really personally invested in. And during this interview with John Bernthal on his podcast, he was saying that he really didn't like what the studio did to it and he wants to have his own version of it. And he does say that he did talk with James Gunn about potentially having an Ayer cut similar to what Zack Snyder did with the Snyder cut. Earlier this year, Ayer shared on social media that he had talked to DC Studios co-head James Gunn, who assured him that his cut of the film would have its time to be shared. And this combined with his upcoming movie, The Beekeeper, is why I think he's making these comments, because he's worried about people just trashing his upcoming movie, and as a result, it's going to tank the prospects of him having his Ayer cut of the Suicide Squad, which I think is fair, but at the same time, you can't just dismiss all criticism as just people being haters, because people will sing the praises of a movie if it's good. And if The Beekeeper is a good movie and people enjoy it, then by all means say so. Because you can have these dumb action movies that people enjoy. And
I hope this is one of them. I truly do. I don't want to go into a movie wanting to hate the movie, or I don't want a movie to be bad. I want movies to succeed, but I'm not just going to settle for mediocrity either. I mean, this is me just speaking personally. I can't speak for everyone who criticizes movies, but in my own personal perspective, I think Hollywood should try to elevate itself. And while we've seen great movies in the past, I think it's kind of stagnated in recent years, and I think we can actually improve again. But by doing that, you have to actually be willing to criticize movies. Otherwise, it's never going to elevate the industry. It's just going to stagnate it. And if you actually cared about movies and about film as an art form, you would want it to improve, and you would be willing to listen to any criticism, even if you don't necessarily agree with the source of the criticism.